welcome back, guys. Hey, we got Shorty Mack back in the building. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm so glad to be here.
Hey, man, we always have fun off camera, man, but we definitely want to give y'all a show. We appreciate y'all for rocking with us and constantly sending us information, constantly commenting on the content. Whether y'all agree with us or not, listen, we get paid whether you agree with us or not. So always bring your perspective. Always bring your comments. We got a lot to talk about today. Kind of a follow up on one of the major stories that we've been reporting about in general is the whole Target debacle and the Target situation. I actually put this on my calendar when Target earnings report comes out because the earnings that they had before were under the Biden administration. And then the minute Trump got in office in January, they started talking about all of this DEI, they getting rid of DEI and all of that. So they had a major backlash. And I was saying, we got to wait until the first quarter earnings to see if it's going to be a real impact. So with Target earnings, their revenue fell 2.8%, which is roughly around 680 million. But I had a deep suspicion that that 680 million was a lot of black-owned businesses, right? And we have a video here from one of the largest founders in Target, Melissa Butler. So we're going to watch that real quick, and then I want to get your thoughts and reaction on what she had to say about her revenue as a black-owned business.
It is so crazy to me when people ask me like how our Target business is doing, and then I tell them that it's terrible, that people are shocked. They're like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, our sales are down 30-40%. Like, that's exactly what we thought was going to happen. And that's not to say that people should continue or go back to shopping at Target. It's just to say that we knew that there was going to be a huge impact. And in order to offset that impact, it requires people to be really intentional about where they are shopping. Meaning you have to go directly to that business, either to that business's website or shopping them in other channels. But like, we knew that was going to happen. The question is, can businesses sustain in the event that people don't go back to Target, period? So like, where do the dollars come from?
All right, so we just listened to the Lip Bar founder, Melissa Butler, who says her Target revenue is down 30 to 40% due to DEI boycotts and backlash that the black community gave to Target. And they said, we're not going in there. We're not shopping in there anymore. Well, a lot of the black-owned brands that were in Target are feeling the crunch. So when you hear that, do you think the boycott is being successful? And what would you tell black consumers, if they want to get that message about how she's feeling?
Well, I want to say first that I stand corrected, because if you remember when we first talked about the Target boycott, when it first happened, you were asking me, did I think it was going to work? And I was like, absolutely not.
Well, is it really working though? Because they only went down 2.8%. Is that really working?
I think I didn't expect anybody to take it seriously. So even the 2.8% amounting to over 600 million, I think that it's a step in the right direction. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to say I think I was wrong. I think I was wrong, and I think that it is working in a sense. It shows that mobilization can happen with us, and that we can kind of stand on business, sort of say, Right. I think that Melissa has the right attitude. She doesn't have an attitude where she's like, woe is me. She's not lashing out at black people for targeting.
She's not telling you what you should do.
She's not telling you what you should do. She's saying if you want to continue to boycott, that you should, and that is your right. And then she's giving a solution, saying that if you do want to still support my business and other people like me, that you're going to have to be intentional in order to do it. So right. I'm not mad at anything that she said. I think that she's right on point. I think that she should probably try to team up with other business owners like herself to figure out how they're going to pivot, come up with plan of action as to how they cannot, continue to suffer. I liked her statement.
I liked it, but here's the problem. She's well positioned to weather this storm. So let's say that goes on for the next 2 or 3 years. She's the largest black-owned makeup brand in Target right now. So she's well capitalized, ready like she used to work on Wall Street, so like she knows what she doing. Even if she got a downsize, like I believe in her as a founder to weather this storm. And even if Target does bring back their DEI initiatives and people go back in, revenue goes back up, I believe her business model and what she does is well positioned. Here's the problem. What about the other 100 black-owned businesses who are not Melissa Butler, who didn't work on Wall Street, who didn't build a business from the ground up? Maybe they just went viral on social media and Target used them as their DEI kind of, you know, puppet and say, hey, we're going to throw a bunch of businesses in Target. Because that's the whole thing about Target. They tried to be equal, but equality doesn't mean fairness all the time. So if we're really being equal, a lot of those businesses shouldn't be in there based on their sales, their revenue, and stuff like that. But the DEI initiative pushed a lot of them in there. So I got faith in her. I love her video. It was a lot different from, say, Tabitha Brown, who was saying basically, come on, we're going to go out of business. Like, y'all got to need to go your ass back in Target. And I think the difference with Tabitha and the difference with her is she's a founder of a brand. So she does have that direct-to-consumer relationship with her audience. She has a retail store in Detroit, things like that. Tabitha, and there's nothing's wrong with this, but she slaps her names on a lot of products and just get a banner in Target and pushes it out because she has a well-known brand. So she's not building a asset that she can package and sell, kind of like the Lip Bar is. So Tabitha is like, well, if this shit ain't moving off the shelf, they can easily snatch my deal. Mm-hmm. So they're now we're seeing the differences between who's really in Target and who's really in Target. Because I believe Melissa Butler is really in Target. Mm-hmm. Like, she has a brand. A lot of other people, they just in Target just to be in there and not necessarily, they're there for a short time, not a long time.
Yeah, so I mean, Tabitha, in my opinion, is putting herself and her profits above progression. And that's not a first.
Not a first, not going to be the last, but
I'm not going to tell people go shop with a store that's racist just so that I can make money. I can't see myself doing it.
I can't either. We got another story. You told me about this. You showed me this one, so I want you to jump straight into it. I wasn't really aware all of this went on. Pinky Cole.
Shout out to Pinky Cole. She just opened up a brand new restaurant. I'm a little bit confused. So when she was saying Slutty Vegan 2.0, is that the Voagies?
I think she's basically saying Slutty Vegan 2.0, that she's bringing the Slutty Vegan back under her control, but she's also launching this new brand called Voagies.
Veggie sandwiches.
Yeah, I never even knew what a Voagie was, so this is kind of like breaking news to me.
Yeah, a vegetarian hoagie sandwich, which I think is, I don't know how successful it's going to be, but apparently you can now get veggie subs, but not just with, like, vegetables.
Right.
I guess they probably have some kind of Impossible lunch meat or something that they're putting on it.
Similar to the whole Slutty Vegan burger that they had, right?
Yeah, but like a Subway for non-meat eaters.
Kind of like, other people were saying it's kind of like Jersey Mike's. You had Jersey Mike's before? I never had Jersey Mike's, so
I love it.
I'm not familiar with Jersey Mike's, but
Jersey
like
Mike's
the Slutty Vegan version, or the Slutty version, the vegan version of Jersey Mike's.
Yep, and I think it's in the West End is the location. They had the grand opening, ribbon cutting. Mm-hmm. And then she had some bad luck. Somebody stole her Bentley from right out in front.
Well, so the location is very important. That was the first location that she ever launched Slutty Vegan out of.
Right.
So that was like her flagship location, that where when you see all these videos of people standing outside and around the corner and all of that, that's because, for one, the restaurant is so small that it can't fit 10 people in it.
Right.
And that's not a shot at her. I'm just saying, like, that's a good marketing ploy.
It's what you said she should do.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's exactly what I said. To have people wrapped around the corner, like, damn, man, what is that? And then you pull up and it's Slutty Vegan. So she shut that restaurant down. That was a Slutty Vegan restaurant. And now she rebranded that to Hoagies.
Yeah.
With the Voagies or whatever. And, you sent me the video of the situation that happened with her car. So what happened with her car?
Yeah, so what began as a celebratory weekend for her quickly took a turn for the negative when 3 individuals allegedly stole her black Bentley Bentayga right from out in front of the sandwich shop. I guess there was like a long line of people waiting to get in. It was super busy.
Right.
And they just had all the audacity, apparently. So she still hasn't gotten the car back. She
Damn.
found that it was stripped. I think they took some
Oh, my
items out of
God.
the car. So they found the items that had been stripped out of the vehicle, but not the actual vehicle. So be on the lookout for her Bentley. And she said that if you see it, to DM her.
Yeah, that's sad because I mean that car is gone. If they stripping it, man, they selling the parts. They probably them wheels are worth money. Everything on that car is worth a lot of money. So
Yeah, and
um,
that's right after she got it out of the shop. I think she had it for like less than a week because a mattress fell on her windshield.
right.
I think like 7 or 8 months ago, something like
And
that.
damn, and she just got it out of the shop for that, or you probably don't.
She had just got it out. I don't even think she had it a full 48 hours before somebody stole it.
Golly, look, just get rid of the car, Pinky. Like, just don't go back. Don't get another car. Like, just get rid of it, cause
Yeah.
I mean,
There's some kind of bad luck attached to that vehicle.
yeah, it's something going on with that car. That guy that's trying to tell you you don't need this damn car, so get rid of it.
Yeah, so I hate that for her, but I'm sure that the car is more than fully insured, and she won't, just take
Yeah,
it
and I
down
want
on
to
it.
see, her bounce back, man. Hopefully, this new vegan concept that she has, Voagies, takes off. She's a marketing genius. That's what she does. And I want to see her get an operator. And this is the problem with a lot of black-owned businesses is like a lot of our talent don't come work for us. So some of these people coming out of these brilliant business schools and things like that, like they go work for the Microsofts, the big companies of the world. They don't come work for us, and they become great operators, and we don't have that talent. So we have a very short talent pool when it comes to black-owned businesses. And I just hope for her that she can get an operator because I don't think, and this is just me looking from the outside looking in, I don't think she's an operator. And that's not a shot at her. That's praise at her marketing and PR ability. She's a PR girly. Like that's what she do.
Absolutely.
And
She
in
got to
bus-
do what she's good
in
at.
business, you do what you're good at, and you hire what you're not good at. So there's a yin and a yang. Steve Jobs was not a tech genius. Like he was a marketing genius. He was a sales genius. Steve Wozniak, his co-founder, was the whiz kid building the computers and doing all that. People idolize Steve Jobs, but you need that Steve Wozniak to operate. So I think that'll be a blessing for her to just attract some good talent to operate and run a business because it's hard to run a restaurant.
Yeah, it is.
It's very hard.
Yeah. Well, the best of luck to her. Hope it takes off.
Yes, Damon Dash. You know what, man? I have a love-hate relationship with Damon Dash, right? I'm a huge Jay-Z fan, right? Obviously, we see this right here. So just by being a Jay-Z fan, I have to be a Dame Dash fan because Dame Dash is part responsible for the success and the foundation of Jay-Z. So we can't no matter what happens to Dame and what happens to Jay, you got to give him that credit. He's a music legend, music executive, music mogul. But he's been having a lot of financial issues coming through the courts. So Dame Dash financial downfall has deepened, right? A federal judge in New York ordered him to sell his assets tied to the Dash Group. So he tried to be slick, right? He's married, and he tried to put a business because he's been having so many lawsuits. He tried to put a business under his wife's name and just operate the business, right? Now that gave him a little shield because when people look him up, they can't see that asset as his. So now they can't come for it unless they fight through the courts and get a judgment. But a New York judge has ordered him to sell in order to settle a debt, which came from a copyright lawsuit in 2019. They ordered him to sell his streaming platform. He got this platform called American News Network. And Dame Dash Studios, where he do all the filming and shooting all his production. So his production house, all that, in order to settle a debt. Now he had a copyright lawsuit from an author and filmmaker named Edwina Brooks. She sued him, accusing him of adopting her copyright, her book, for a movie or a series that he was creating, and she won. I mean, it was only $80,000, but $80,000 is real money to probably somebody like her. So she got this judgment, and Dame Dash refuses to pay her. So Dame Dash now has to sell that, and it's just sad to see one of our music moguls and business people in the entertainment space go through so much hell. I mean, he just got hit with another lawsuit where he forced him to sell his Rockefeller shares.
He might have the money though, because he's hiding all these assets, right?
Yes.
So he might actually have $78,000 to pay her
I
with
think
no
he
problem.
had $78,000.
But the
Yeah.
problem is that he didn't, right? So it's the
Yes.
same thing with the game out in L.A.
Yeah.
He been had that money to pay that girl, but
The game is stupid.
he's standing on his ego saying, get that money the best way. You come get it in blood.
Yeah.
Shiesty. I'm not giving it to you. So now, because you got interest and all these things that accrue
Yep.
when you could have just paid it to begin with, now he's being forced to sell a property in order
property,
to
yes.
settle up his debt with her. So when it comes to Dame Dash, I highly doubt it's that he doesn't have the money. Remember, we're talking about the same dude who gave $2 million in cash to Lee Daniels to do a film just because he liked the film and he felt like, oh, it might do okay.
He got that money back allegedly.
Later on,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
did.
later
But
on,
when
but
he
yeah.
and then the film that he gave him the $2 million for was like a film that went nowhere, right?
Yeah.
And so if the film would have went nowhere and then Lee Daniels would have never recouped with another good film, I think Damon Dash would have just took that L because he understands that business. You're not always
You're
going to get a return.
Yes.
But because Lee went on to do more films, right, and he did make a crazy amount of money, he's like, hey, yo, what's up with that $2 million that I gave you?
Yeah.
So if we're talking about a guy who gives somebody $2 million to do a film that may or may not get off the ground, right? He has money. I think it's that when you get to hiding your assets and then
Yes.
saying, I don't have any money,
Yeah.
then the court says, oh, well, you got money over here and you got money over here.
Let's start
so,
digging.
So sell this and do this. When in reality, he might have $78 million in an offshore account stashed somewhere. So
That's definitely some Dame Dash energy with trying to hide his assets because he have a lot of legal troubles, man. In November, he went through an auction to sell his stake in Rockefeller Records, which still holds Jay-Z's first album, Reasonable Doubt.
Yep. The masters to it.
Yeah, it holds the masters to it, which is very valuable. But the problem is, it's only valuable to Jay because nobody else wants to sell it because then Jay gonna sue him, and he's not gonna perform. He's not gonna go on tour. He's not gonna do anything. He's not gonna promote it, whatever. So the real value is to Jay, but he refused to sell it to Jay because of their, back and
Ego.
forth and ego. Ego is gonna get men in trouble all day. He could have sold that to Jay for 2, 3, 5 million, and I feel like Jay probably would have paid it, but he would never sell it to Jay. So Jay had to sue him because he tried to sell it as an NFT,
Yeah.
and then now he's forced to sell it, and he was forced to sell it in an auction. And because he was forced to sell it in an auction, they got $1 million for it, but $200,000 went to child support, and the rest went to taxes because he owed $1.7 million in taxes. So Dame Dash has a lot of financial troubles that he's been going through, and this is just another just step in the wrong direction for him because every time you see a story about him, you see a story about Jay-Z winning. So it's just like it's so unfortunate, but
Yeah, and some of it goes back to like when they originally sold their shares of Rockefeller.
Yeah.
Jay-Z did some what could be seen as shady business. So
What you mean?
what happened was like originally they both decided that they had 50-50 split, right?
well, it was 30-30-30, 33-30 because they had another silent partner, Big
Right.
Works, right?
Exactly. So, but the shares that they had was equal. So, like
Yes,
he had 30,
correct,
he had
correct,
30, right?
correct.
So, what ended up happening was that Jay-Z sold his share to somebody who he actually knew. And so, when Dame sold his and then Jay-Z sold his, what ended up happening was that later on, Jay-Z went back to the person who he sold his
No.
to and he bought it back.
No, they sold it to
A
Def
company.
Jam.
Mhm. And then he ended up
he-
being president. And
Yeah, and
part
he went,
of the,
and he went and
Uh-huh.
became president, and
And-
part of the deal was I get the masters to everything, but the only thing I couldn't get the masters to was Reasonable Doubt, and Dame never sold.
And he basically got his shares back from the company because that was his stipulation
Yeah,
for
that
going
was
to
that
work
was a
there.
part of the
So
compensation.
he ended up getting his back. So then,
Is that ain't got nothing to do with Dame? That's just a good chess move for Jay.
but the way that Dame looked at it is like, let's say right now me and you had an equal split on this studio, right?
Right.
And we're not getting along, and we say, you know what? We just amicably decide that we're just gonna both get out of this studio, right?
Right.
And so let's say that the leaseholder, our landlord, right, who we tell the landlord, yeah, me and James, we're just going to go ahead and move in our separate ways, right? And we both decide we're not going to renew the lease.
Right.
And then a couple of days later, you're talking to the landlord, chopping it up in the hallway, and he's like, man, I hate that you're leaving. I had some plans for you. I was thinking we could do this and that. And you're like, well, you know what? I like those plans. So why don't you just sign me back on the lease? Then you sign the lease again, and then you bring in a whole new girl, and y'all continue to do the show. It's making me look like, what? We agreed that we were going to go our separate ways. And you're like, well, what does it matter? You still got the money that you used to get rid of it, right? But it's
Correct.
like, but we still have this backdrop, and we built this brand together.
Let me
and
ask
the brand was already known.
Dame could have struck the same deal Jay struck.
But he was under the assumption that they were both going to do what they said they
Just
were
like
going
he
to
was,
do.
just like Dame got finessed out of the Rockaware situation the same way.
That's what I'm
Jay-Z
saying.
said, "Oh, I ain't gonna be involved anymore." Dame sold his share for $22 million. Jay said, "All right, I'm back involved." Now Dame's out. He sold it a year later for $200 million.
Exactly.
So Dame's share would have been worth, instead of 22, would have been worth like 55.
There you go. And that's what I'm saying is, like, I bet once he went through that back then, he was like, I'm not letting that happen to me again. So
Who wrong? Is Jay wrong?
it was sneaky.
Business is tough. Business is war.
I know. And so Dame was looking at it like we're friends. You know what I mean? So he's looking at it like from the friendship standpoint and then from the business standpoint. And then Jay's making all these, sinister moves. And then he go get a girl and they get married and she's hella rich too. Like, it's a hot mess.
Yeah, I mean, it can definitely be tough, but
I think from that point,
looking at that situation, yeah, he feel like Jay robbed him, so he's never going to give him that asset back.
Yeah.
I didn't know nothing about this story. You got to catch me up because I'm just a big fan of Clarissa Shields. I'm not even a fan of Papoose. Like, I remember him being a rapper. I don't remember any of his songs. I remember Remy Ma, but I don't remember any of her songs. I'm sure if I hear some songs, I'll be like, oh, that's Remy Ma. But after she went to jail, did the whole debacle, I wasn't really familiar with her. But you brought me up to speed on the situation, so I want you to break it down for us.
So Remy Ma and Papoose have been broken up for some time, actually. And like over a year ago, me and my homegirl were speculating that they were like legit broke up because she had put up a post wishing him a happy birthday.
Yeah.
And the post didn't say, to my husband who I love so much, right? The post was like, to a man that I've known for over 20 years. It was like a dry,
Very corporate.
ass birthday wish. So me and my homegirl, we started our federal investigation. And we went to his page and her page, and we noticed that they kind of had scrubbed each other's social media clean, of each other.
Yeah.
So we were like,
Y'all operating like the Shade Room. That's exactly how they...
So we're like, me and my homegirl, like, you know what? I think these two are broke up and they're just not telling us, right? And then fast forward, there were these cheating allegations. Remy Ma, they're like, oh, she's running around with some battle rapper.
Yeah, she cheated on him.
Yeah, so me and my homegirl were like, she ain't cheating. That's her man. It's just that her and Papoose haven't made an official announcement saying we're not together anymore, right?
Okay.
So that was our speculation. Fast forward some more. They finally made, a statement saying that they were no longer together and that was indeed Remy's new man. And then when Papoose felt safe enough, he came out with his new woman, Clarissa Shields. All right, well, last weekend they had it out on social media for like 3 days straight. These two were making videos, blasting each other.
I mean, Clarissa was making comments too.
She made a comment, but Papoose and Remy Ma were literally going live, and they were blowing each other up. And what I found interesting was that Papoose first came out saying that Remy Ma was cheating, that first she was cheating with her man now.
Yeah.
He also said that she was cheating with some of her homegirls, that she's like kind of bisexual, and she was having some bisexual relations with some other females, and he was catching her, and he was putting out all his receipts. And so her clap back was, yeah, I was cheating because I was paying all the bills. And y'all keep thinking that Papoose was this good man that stuck by me during my years in prison. And she's like, he stuck by me because I was paying the bills. So she showed receipts that she was paying all the bills where he was living. while she was in prison. And then she said when she came home from prison that she went through his phone, saw that his baby moms was sending him like naked, inappropriate pictures. And so basically she's saying he was cheating on her the whole time that she was locked up, but he was just showing a good face because he's broke and she was paying all the bills. So then it hit me. I said, oh, so Remy was just doing what these men be doing out here. She was paying all the bills and then saying that she deserves to cheat a little bit on the side since she paying all the bills. So I say all of this to say, James and I always have debates where I always tell him that I'm not going 50-50 with no man. I'd rather pay 100% of my own bills rather than having to split bills with a man. And a lot of times my reasoning is because these men will use, that fact that they're paying all the bills to cheat. And my thing is, if you're going to cheat because you're paying all the bills, then I'm going to need to keep my money stacked up, because if you cheat, I'm leaving.
Right.
And I'm not trying to leave broke with no money.
Right.
So it's kind of like, I feel like Remy is doing what men do. If I'm the breadwinner and
So
I'm
you
paying
on
all
Remy?
the bills,
You feel like Remy is right to leave?
no, I don't think that she's right, But I do think that she's doing what men do. And I do feel like as a woman, for me personally, it can be very difficult for me to respect a man, right, if I'm paying 50 or the majority or all of the bills, like what Remy's saying.
Mm-hmm.
And so Pat Poose came back and he was like, all the bills are in my name. And I was like, they're in your name, but are you paying them?
Yeah,
because there's a difference between me saying, James, put this bill in your name, and then I'm just still paying the bill
Correct.
every month,
Correct.
versus the bill's in your name and you're paying. So
Right.
the fact that he didn't just come out and say, nah, she's lying, I was paying the bills too. All he said was that the utilities were in his name.
Yeah,
And that's
that's
kind of
definitely
like,
not a good defense.
it's emasculating. And so I can kind of see where Remy is coming from, where she's saying, like, you broke, you ain't got no money, like, I'm going to kind of do me.
Gabrielle Union said that Dwayne Wade's wife, she said her ex-husband, she used to cheat on him because she paid all the bills. Like, she was the breadwinner, so she felt like, I'm the breadwinner, I'm the one making the money, I'm the one doing this. Like,
Gabrielle Union used to cheat on her ex-NFL husband?
whatever. Some dude she was dating, she said she used to cheat on him because she paid
was
all
paying
the
the
bills.
bills?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, as a woman,
I don't know who her ex-husband was.
her ex-husband played in the NFL, but you know that when it
Nah,
comes
it might
to
not
NFL,
have been him. It
was
could have been
somebody
another
else.
ex-husband. I mean, it didn't have
She
to
was
be a
only married
husband.
once,
It
yeah.
didn't have to be a husband. It could have been a boyfriend. But yeah, she definitely
Yeah,
came out and said,
it's gonna be hard, and I can't speak for all women because I know tons of women who don't care how much a man makes, and if she's the breadwinner and she pay all the bills, that's fine as long as he's doing whatever it is she wants him to do. But for me as a woman, it's gonna be really, really hard for me to respect my man, and you're not paying like the majority of the bills. And I'm not talking about you got sick and you can't work right now, or you got
Yeah.
let go and it's taking you longer to find a job
Yeah.
than we thought. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a man who is resting and comfortable with me being the breadwinner. I just can't look at you like, I just not gonna respect you like that.
I feel that. I feel like a lot of women get turned off by the fact that I have to play this domesticated role, but also play this masculine role of paying the bills or paying partial of the bill. My problem be the conversation that you're having at your age and at your level of your career. I think it's a conversation that I appreciate and I can agree with. My problem is the 20-year-old Shorty Mack, the 23-year-old Shorty Mack. Did you have that same mindset then? And I think that's problematic to have that mindset at 23 versus having that mindset when you're more advanced in your career, because you do make six figures. You make well over six figures. You do good for yourself. You are successful in your own right in terms of anybody's stature, even if you're looking at comparing it to a man, right? You do good for yourself. My problem is when girls be 22, broke, don't have no career, they just look good, and they say, I need a man that makes six figures, I need a man that's rich, and it's like, well, why do you need that if you don't bring that to the table? When a woman brings that to the table, I can understand that. So, and there's a lot of studies out here that even show that when the man isn't the breadwinner, he's more abusive, he's going to cheat more, because a lot of times with men, it's an ego thing. We need our ego stroked somehow. I'm a man, I can admit, men need their ego stroked somehow, right? Mm-hmm. And if your ego is getting stroked because you're the breadwinner, you're the man, you got clout, you run a business, or you got a career that you're passionate about, you got a good job, you're successful. That strokes your ego, so you're fulfilled in that you can commit and be with one woman. A lot of men, they have that void. They don't have no career, they don't have no prospects, they don't have anything. So to fill that void, we go back to doing what we did when we was 12 and 13 when our career didn't matter.
Throwing a fit
We sleep around
and being dominant over
and talking to a hundred different girls and doing that because that fills
Currency.
the void of the ego that a man needs. The ego is what drives you to become successful and buy Ferraris and do all of that. So it's the same ego, and I think a lot of men do cheat and are probably more aggressive and more like just the whole nine when they are not fulfilled financially
Oh,
and are
absolutely.
not successful. So
They
I
become
always tell men, bro, just get your shit together. Fuck trying to date. Stop doing all that. Get your stuff together because my granddad always told me, you pay the bills, you make your money so you can talk the most shit. Because you can't talk shit if you going 50-50 with your girl because, nigga, she gonna talk shit back and it's like, you don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you pay all the bills, you can say what you want, you can raise your motherfucking voice, and she gotta curl up and shut the hell up because she ain't trying to pay no bills. So she gonna listen to you and submit to your plan. Not saying it has to go that way, obviously, but
You probably have more of a plan, though.
you have more of a plan and you have more of a point.
And you don't have to assert your dominance in that area. Like sometimes if a man feels like you got more money than me, you got more power than you got all these things, right?
Yeah.
Then that's when they become physically abusive.
I can see that.
Because you can't beat my ass, right? So I'm going to show you, right, my dominance and my ability
show my
as a man
dominance, yeah,
in
somewhere.
other unhealthy ways.
Yeah,
And
I can see that.
And I think that the age thing that you bring up, it matters. The context does matter. Like when I was in my 20s, I was dating other 20-year-old boys my age who were also broke.
Right.
I had the option to date older men who had money.
Of course.
I was disgusted by that. When I
Okay.
was 20 and I had men that were even 30, 35, why are you talking to me? Yuck. Right now at the age
Is
that
that
I'm at,
crazy to you? No, that's not. I think a 30-year-old can talk to a 20-year-old.
well, I don't even want to like get into like what's right or wrong. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
saying for me
For you, yeah, yeah,
personally,
for you, yeah.
I've never been attracted to age gap relationships. I don't want to date a man that's a lot older than me.
Okay.
Right now at the age that I'm at, right, I don't want to date a man that's my mom's age.
Right.
I don't want to date a man that's closer to my mom's age than my age. Like it's just never been a thing for me.
Right.
I think I feel like there's something wrong if I'm 21 and you're 35 and you're trying to talk to me. I'm looking at you like, what's wrong with you? What's going on with you? What you trying to manipulate me because you think I'm young and I'm dumb? Like I never see like a healthy connotation with me talking to a man that's a lot older than me, and I don't care what age. I don't care if it's in my 20s, my 30s, my 40s. When I'm 60, I don't want to talk to an 80-year-old man.
Right.
Like it's not for me. So in my 20s, I was dating boys that were my age, and they weren't having it like that.
Right.
I think that girls in their 20s who are expecting
When did you make that mindset shift? Like at what around? Was
My
it a
whole
career? No, I'm saying was it a career? I'm saying going from I can understand why a guy like I'm 20. I'm dating a guy who's 20. He's broke. We both struggling. We probably putting our money together to pay the bills, whatever. When did you make that mindset shift? Was it an age or was it a level in your career in terms of your earning income when you said, I'm not doing 50-50 with a guy? Because it seems like at 20, you probably would have been perfectly fine to do that because y'all both broke together.
No, like, so when I was 25, my boyfriend wanted me to move in with him, but he didn't want to pay all the bills, so I was like, no.
Okay.
I've never lived with a man. I'm not going to. Like, unless we are engaged, trying to get married, and you understand that those household bills are your responsibility, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. So I think that the girls who are 20, right, they have some options here. Mm-hmm. So either you can be in your 20s and be realistic and understand that most guys in their 20s don't have money, and so you're going to have to deal with that, right?
Right.
Or you can say, I'm in my 20s, I want a guy that got a whole bunch of money, but I know that percentage of guys that's in their 20s, so now you're going to have to weave through that, right? Or you can be in your 20s and go get a guy that's way older than you, and he going to have money, but he going to have other problems. So you're just going to have to deal with those problems. So I think that women have options. You just got to understand what your options are, and then you got to choose your battle, because everything's going to be a battle. Nothing's going to be a cakewalk.
Yeah, I think I don't think the age thing is that big of a deal with me. I actually never dated somebody seriously that was way older or way younger than me. The women that I've dated have always been like within 2 years. Honestly, all my girlfriends that I ever had has been like within 2 years of my age, and that's all relative, right?
But that's just a coincidence.
Yeah,
That's not
yeah.
something where you have
That's
a
just
standard.
yeah.
right?
I'm just dating girls that go to my same school, go to my college. I work at the job or whatever, right?
Right.
I'm not 30 years old, seeking a freshman in college. Like I just never was really on that.
Yeah,
I know
I
some
don't
dudes
dig
who do
that.
that, but I mean, it's just
And I don't dig it either way around, right? So like I have a son, he in his beginning 20s.
yeah.
And if there was a girl 10, 15 years older than him dating him, he's an adult, so he can do whatever he wants, right? But me, I'm going to frown upon it. And so
If he was dating a 30-year-old girl, you would be like, hell no.
I wouldn't like it. But at the end of the day, like I said, that's his life, so he has to do what he wants. But if you ask me, do I like it as a mother? No, I don't. Because I think that she's going to be more mature in areas that he's not. And I just feel like when older people date down significantly, I'm talking about 10 years and more, right? I think that there is manipulation there regardless of the gender. So I'm not just saying, oh, older men shouldn't date young women. Same thing. Like these women that be 10, 15, 20 years older than the dude. What's going on with you, ma'am? So I don't like it.
I got a question for you as a homeowner. And I gave this question to a few of my friends who own homes and own property. And I read a story about a black family that was lowballed in California. So they had a house and they owned the home for a long time. They started seeing properties around the neighborhood get sold, and the way property is valued is by comps, right? So they were looking at the comps in their neighborhood. They expected a certain amount, and their home was valued $254,000 lower than all these other homes, and they said it was simply because of discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
So they hired a whole nother appraiser and got, a proper appraisal. Then they went back to the appraiser and said, hey, what the hell is this? And they filed a discrimination lawsuit. They settled for $75,000. And the question that I asked my friends and family was, if you have a property that you're looking to sell, you want to get the most value out of it, as a black family, would you replace your pictures with something other than a black family? So we can say a white family, some Indian, Chinese family, whatever, to disguise that you, as the owner, you're black. Would you do that to get the full value? And some people were saying no, like they don't.
I'm absolutely doing that.
Some people were saying they think that's like self-hate and they hate themselves. And
It's knowing how to play the game. I just told you before we got on camera, I'm gonna get ready to do an appraisal on a property that I own. And what I tell you I was gonna do.
We gonna have some white AI pictures? You gonna get some real people?
I'm not even gonna have no pictures. I'm gonna have a white person there to shake their hand and be with them while they do their appraisal.
No, I definitely got white friends that I need your white privilege real quick, bro.
So it's just in that scenario. So like I have a property that I use for Airbnb, and right when you walk in the door, there's a picture of Huey Newton. Like right when you walk in the door,
right.
There's a picture of Huey Newton, and then when you go a little bit to the left, there's a picture of Eldridge Cleaver.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
I want the people who rent the crib to know that this is a black-owned home.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because it doesn't affect me financially, right?
Correct.
But
it's not like they're gonna get in there. Oh, I'm canceling this. You already in there.
A picture of Huey Newton. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
No.
And then a lot of white people probably don't even know who the hell Huey Newton is.
Oh, well, I mean, they see that he's black, and then there's a quote right there. But the quotes are good quotes. They don't have anything to do with race, being good people. But, yeah, I'm absolutely putting pictures of white people up in my house before I get the appraisal. Yeah, because that's what you have to do, because otherwise it's going to cost you money, and it's going to cost you money because they're being racist. And who has the time to go file lawsuits and wait for settlements and pay an attorney a fee for helping me when he's not even the one that got played? He or she.
Yeah, you're definitely going to. I think in this situation, you call one of your white friends, you call somebody you're cool with and say, hey, there's, and then if your friend doesn't acknowledge that this is actually a thing, they're probably not your friend, because they will be like, oh yeah, man, come on, man, I'll come do it all day, because people have biases and they do this all the time. And luckily that it was such a big number, because it was these houses in California are
A
$1 million.
million.
This is $1 million. So with that home being appraised 25% less, that's $250,000. That's real money.
That's the price of a house.
Exactly.
You can get a
But if
house
you were
for
in, let's say you were
$254,000.
in Detroit, and that 25% is only 30, 40 grand. A lot of people just
Wouldn't even know.
they wouldn't even know
They
it,
would miss
and
it.
they get robbed every single day. But
It happens all the time, and there's already a room margin for error when it comes to appraising, period. I remember
Yeah.
I bought a property one time, and the appraiser said the house was great, nothing was wrong with it. And then 2 weeks later, my insurance company did their second insurance evaluation, because
Yeah.
they don't just stick with the first one. So they do
Yeah.
a first one initially so that you can get the price for your closing.
yeah,
And then 2 weeks later, they come back and they do another one.
yeah.
And so when they came back and did another one, they said something was going on with my roof.
Damn.
And that if I didn't replace the roof, that they were going to drop me from the policy. You
Damn.
know, I got on the line with that appraiser quickly. Hey, these people are telling me
Well,
I need to.
you probably need to talk to an inspector at that point.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, inspector.
I'm getting it mixed up. I'm not even
Because
talking about the
some-
appraiser. I'm talking about the inspector. But
But
he
some
came,
properties, some mortgages, like they might require you to get an inspection though.
and that's
So
what was going
it probably
on with
was
me.
contingent, on the appraisal.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
I quickly called him. He gave me $1,000 because I paid him like $500 for the inspection.
Yeah.
He gave me my $500 back. He gave me another $500.
Yeah, because he
and
ain't
then
trying to get that lawsuit.
exactly. And then I got on the phone with the larger insurance company who didn't actually come out to do the inspection. They
Yeah.
did it with like Google Maps or whatever.
yeah. They
So
do that
then
shit all the
they gave me a proper quote and everything was fine. But that margin for error when it comes to the appraisers, the inspectors, like the home buying process is already so complicated. So many people are uninformed. Maybe this is their first time buying a property. Like you can't, with all of that on your plate, you can't also add racism to the plate, man.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly, man. Yeah, y'all definitely gotta you gotta cross your T's and dot your I's. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Cross your T's and dot your I's. Yeah, you gotta cross your T's and dot your I's. And if taking a picture out saves you $250,000, I would tell you to do it. But
And ask other people too. Like do your research on what the home buying process entails and
Yeah.
what you should be aware
because
of.
I was a mortgage banker and nobody never asked me like how to buy a house, and I'd be like so amazed. But you know how that go. But yeah, we appreciate you guys for rocking with us. Make sure you follow Shorty Mack on IG. Follow me on IG at James Hill TV. Subscribe to the YouTube. We got a lot coming out in the future. And I just said this, I'm going to get on a schedule. So we're going to do it twice a week. So we're going to do, did I say Monday and Thursday or Tuesday and Friday? I forgot. So I think we're going to do Tuesday and Friday. And we're going to be dropping twice a week. So y'all make sure y'all stay tapped in with that.
Yes. Thank you for all the support. We love you guys.
All right.